Okay, my geographic inquiry question is how can regulations be applied to increase fish stocks and stop overfishing in international waters? The definition of international waters that I'm using in this case would be the area of the ocean that no specific country governs. Each country has about 200 miles off their coast, so it would still be considered their territory. You can see on this map with the light blue that those are still countries' territories. They're 200 miles off their coast, and then all the dark blue is what would be considered international waters. The environmental problem of overfishing is there's such a high demand in the market for these types of fish that fisheries need to keep up with the demand, leading to overfishing and depleting the fish stocks. And they, because of such high demand, they can't stop fishing because then they can't make as much. They need to make as much money, so they need to fish as much as they do, and that makes it so that the populations of fish don't have enough time to recover because they keep getting overexploited. It's not just a problem with a few species, there are actually dozens of species that are being overfished, some even close to being endangered and extinct. There's also many other species that are close to being overfished, however, are not currently. There are many solutions, however, they have multiple flaws. One of the solutions would be to increase regulations about fishing and to limit the amount of fish that can be caught. The problem with this is that it would only work in countries' territories, and as you saw before, there's such a vast amount of ocean that the those regulations wouldn't be applied to international waters. There's also another um, There's also another plan to just ban overfishing in international waters completely. However, that's a very controversial topic where many countries don't agree on that. So if they can't come to a complete agreement, then it won't work. There's also a flaw even if they do come to agreement. There's many illegal fishing already in countries' territories with regulations, and if that means if they just ban fishing in international waters altogether, international waters are so vast, there's no way that people can just watch the whole ocean for people who are fishing. And then also, there's no specific country that owns that territory. So, who would even be watching for those people who are fishing? So, there's no way people would keep up that ban. Um, However, there has been certain cases where people have agreed to mitigate their amount of fishing even without regulations. If this is possible for the main market to do this, then that would allow fish populations to recover and also not to be depleted as much. The example that I'm talking about is krill, where they are sustainably fishing and catching the krill, however, not going above a certain limit to not decrease their populations. If we can do this with all type of fish, then that would solve our problem. However, we would have been doing this the whole time. That makes the question what would be a good solution. However, there isn't one at this moment because of how many people see it differently and how different opinions there are on overfishing. And even if we do regulate overfishing in international waters and everywhere else, have we done enough damage? And can fish populations recover from how much we've overfished them already?